So there are lots of discussion happening sport and fight by us today. How are you found by?
I'm fine, thank you.
And at found by today, the topic of debate is for the role of basically fat people in sports. Or fat people, they, have been body shamed a lot that they cannot play sports and they cannot actively take part in any sort of sports, and they're usually discouraged to play sports of all causes. How do you see this, Irfan bhai? To start off.
I keep starting from the basic institutional instinct of a person. In the society, it is generally observed that until there is a motivation for something, until there is an incentive for something, people do not do that. For instance, the failure of communism as an ideology was primarily based upon the fact that Karl Marx says each according to their need, each according to their will. So circumstances dictate that whenever there is an incentive, you promise a small or a large incentive or a prize for someone, then they do the work. Until then, they don't. So if you say that fat people should play in the sports and they should be encouraged in this regard, my question to you then is that if that is going to be the case, no one is going to lose weight. And if you want to condone it, sure, if you want to, yeah.
But Irfan bhai, the question is that obviously weight loss takes a bit of time, but so that means that they should stop playing sports till they reduce their
Why
weight.
not?
How is this Irfan bhai?
So I mean, why?
Weight loss can take a lot of time as well.
But still, why are you going to play the sports? Why don't you first primarily focus on one thing? If I say I have ice cream and I have pizza for you, would you like to eat both of them simultaneously alongside taking the tea? You would say no, I would take it step by step. So it is the first step that you have to take and go for the weight loss journey, and then you would be compatible with the sports that you want to play.
And the fun is in some sports, like even in cricket, we see that when players lose weight, they tend to lose their form and performance as well. Even so, in examples in cricket as well. Biggest example is of Inzamam Bhai, where he lost a couple of kgs and then his batting form completely slipped down. So that also happens that when you lose weight, your body gets deformed a bit. How do you see?
I believe that this is just a false justification in order to get into the sports you want to. I don't believe that. So why do you want to support it? If a person is not physically compatible with the sports, why do you want to allow them to play? Isn't it taking the chance from those who are already there? If your command is only strength, because if a person has big biceps and big fat stomach and belly, they have more strength to strike the bat at faster pace. I don't think so. That's a good of an argument. Even this cricket, they have to run for the runs as well. They would be run out otherwise. So how you're going to justify that?
And I wonder, do you think that if you're fat as well, you need that muscle power as well? Like we're talking about cricket, like those, especially the couple of power hitters, there are examples of fat people who have played the game as well. And usually, as we say that once they lose weight, their strength basically diminishes to be able to hit big sixes. How do you see this?
So in
As
the
a power, you need the muscle strength as well.
in the specific context of cricket, most certainly, the example of many players, Azam Khan for instance, there are different debates, and his weight loss journey has become disputable with the fact that they say that he might not be able to retain the amount of strength that became his initial qualification to become in the
He was
sports
basically a power hitter.
without a promising physique. But still, the question is, he might not be able to deliver on that. So yes, one aspect of sports can be played in a good way. For instance, in basketball, if you're fat, you might not be able to run, you might not be able to shoot, but you can do one thing: you can stand like a brick wall and stop all the people from entering the court. So if you think it is a good of a justification that you compromise all the aspects of a sports just to facilitate one of them, and then in order to condone and qualify yourself for the sports, most certainly you can say that Shakespeare was right in saying that even the devil can quote the scripture for his cause. तो अगर आपने justification तलाश करनी है तो कोई ना कोई तो आपको मिल ही जाएगी.
But don't you think that, Farmer, this is basically a flawed perception where a body fat percentage can basically determine what is an athlete's capabilities? Or do you think that this is basically a flawed generalization, like some sports where you see sumo wrestling and other kind of sports where fat people are the ones who are being successful? In sumo wrestling, you need that bulk and that kind of weight to be able to compete. How do you see this?
That's a good argument, but an argument that is rooted in deep misconception in the fact that sumo wrestling or other sports that are specifically customized to accommodate the fat people, it is no harm in facilitating that. I cannot say that if in a sumo wrestling, me and you can compete, most certainly you would win. But how about 100-meter race? How about some other things? So there are different compatibility levels. If you are saying that it overshadows the capacity of an athlete, I say that it conceals it temporarily. An athlete who is fast, I am not in good physical condition right now, but still I can run faster than you. You might be able to run faster than me if you were in the same physical condition. So fat is something that conceals or temporarily suspends and postpones the talent until it emerges again. So I believe that condoning fat might be injurious to the athlete himself, or herself. So they must firstly try to eradicate that extra layer of incumbents, the obstacle that would impede their path. Otherwise, it would be good.
And do you think that the societal and also media stereotype affect these acceptance of these kind of athletes, particularly in towards the media advertisements and all these kind of things? Because I think in media ads we usually see the slimmer athletes getting all those commercials and all of those things. How do you see this on?
That's a good argument, and I believe that they should hire you in different commercials as well. But my concern would remain the same. There are different ideological biases and financial loyalties that of the media empire is associated with a different perspective that they propagate. For instance, we have seen different athletes drinking different fast food, or taking fast food and drinking fast drinks or beverages. For instance, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. These are diametrically injurious to you, but still they are doing that. As Ronaldo did it, and the impact was drastic. So I believe that they show a specific designed narrative in order to facilitate their own commercial interest. There is no reality that is being substantiated behind that.
But Farmer, do you think that they should be judged on basis of the presence, or rather they should be appreciated basis on the performance? If they're performing well and if they're meeting a certain requirement, shouldn't they be allowed to play? If they're meeting a certain kind of fitness standard required.
But if something is beyond your control, it is not disputable at all. There are certain diseases that make people fat faster and slim slower. But still, my question would be, is it out of your control? If it is beyond the powers of you to reduce the fat, most certainly you would not be judged at all. But body positivity and trying to condone and trying to accept everything as natural consequence of your dietary habits, it is something very reprehensible. You should be judged on the basis of your hard work, because society does that. You go to a chief minister's office, you go to the office of an ASP, you go to an office of any person. It is the institutional social judgment there, right? You say he's a policeman because you judge them on the hard work that they put and they did something like that. Similarly, when you do it in society about the fat people, they say it's fat shaming. It's not fat shaming, it is categorization of the people in accordance with the weight and effort they put in it. If it deliver upon them, that's certainly yes. But if some things are beyond the control of a person, it is a disease, it is a chronic ailment that is causing it, most certainly they should not be judged and it should be treated as an exclusionary or exceptional case.
But how have all these successful athletes like even Babe Ruth or Shaquille O'Neal basically challenged all of these norms basically by playing and basically performing at the international arena? How do you see that?
Because Shaquille O'Neal, you said about the basketball, he is at least 7 feet. So that makes him an exceptional person where his height and his genetic ability compensates for the presence of fat. Still in his prime, he was not that fat at all. Zion Williamson is a wonderful player in basketball. He is criticized often for his fatness, but still he is able to jump higher than those who are skinnier than him. Jumping higher than those who are skinnier than him means that there are elements that are compensating for the presence of fat. So if you are genetically gifted, blessed, most certainly having fat does not deter you. But taking that symbolic representation from the exceptional cases that have gained the limelight of the media and then projecting them to generalize other things, it is an injustice and your entry ticket to some of the sports that you might not be eligible right now. For that purpose, there are mind games. You play chess, Ludo. There are different games which do not want you to physically exaggerate or physically abuse yourself to the degree that you have to get down in the calories that you're eating.
And lastly, obviously, founder, before we close this video, do you think that youth sports basically discourage all of the participation of fat people in the sports due to stigma or lack of accommodation? And have you seen any sort of these things happening in even FC College, like the fitness camp is currently happening as well?
I believe FC College is a place that offers diversity at its crescendo. We have many fat and many thinner than thin people. But there has never been a discrimination. There has never been even a grain of concern while we are playing. When I was 20 kgs heavier than right now I am, 2 or 3
You used to
months,
play basketball as well.
I was never discouraged for being fat. That is the path where it should be. I was always encouraged to play athletics so that I would reduce my weight, but never directly dictated that this weight category is not allowing you to play. So what I believe is that the path is not the right one. You are not telling them in a polite manner that this is not the right way to reduce the weight. If you say you are a fat person, you should not play sport, you do not deserve it, that's wrong. That most certainly is wrong. it hurts the sentiments of the people.
And
The
it will discourage
sensitivities
the
that get
people.
jeopardized, and they would never intervene in the sports grounds that are hostile towards their presence. So the only path is a very strategic communication, an art of persuasion, and an art of emulation and exemplary placement of different models in front of them, so that they would try to imitate them and very respectfully integrate in that into that part of society where there is a necessity for it. Because until you have necessary qualification, if you want to go in army, regardless of how much intelligent you are or how much dumb you are, until you become that specific person that they are aiming for, you will not be admitted in it, ISSP. So it means that it is not beyond the qualifications of the person. It is just that you should fit in the category you're playing for, and that's why sports demand a specific certain physical uh, situation in which you must fit in.
Yeah, Farm Bhai, thank you so much for your time. Inshallah, we'll try again to have another video, and hopefully, the things we will expect the things to become better at the proper level, and obviously, athletes will get a chance to play regardless of all the physique and all of the things. So, I guess that's it for this video. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Till then, a good bye from me and a Farm Bhai side. Be good to yourself and Allah Hafiz.
Allah.